now listening to Cassphere Podcast.
All right, let's dive in. Today, we're tackling a topic I know you're all buzzing about, AI and what it means for podcasting. You guys sent a mountain of articles and YouTube videos, so buckle up. We've got a lot to unpack.
Yeah, it feels like every time I blink, there's a new AI tool or update. It's a wild ride, but that's what keeps things interesting, right? We're not just looking at what the tech does, but what it could mean for folks like you, the creators and listeners.
Absolutely. Okay, so one thing that really caught my eye was this Google Notebook LM thing. It's like, imagine a personal AI assistant that turns a stack of documents, we're talking articles, PDFs, even YouTube links, into a podcast-style discussion.
It's pretty mind-blowing, right? Think of it like this. You know how you can upload a photo to Google and search for visually similar ones? Notebook LM does something similar, but with information. It takes those sources, finds the connections, the key takeaways, and presents them. Well, like a conversation, basically.
And that's where it gets really wild. Because it's not just reading a summary. It's like you've got these two AI hosts going back and forth, pulling out the juiciest bits.
Exactly. And that's all thanks to something called Gemini 1.5 Pro, which is the brains behind Notebook LM. Imagine a program that can not only read text, but understand the meaning of a photo or video, and then use all that to create something new. That's Gemini. It's a huge leap forward in how AI processes and uses different types of information.
Okay, so that makes sense on a tech level, but what does this actually mean for someone like me in the real world?
Okay, so think about all the information you're bombarded with, daily industry news, articles, reports, social media. It's overwhelming. Notebook LM is like a filter, sifting through it all and giving you the essence, the key insights, in a way that's easy to digest.
So instead of spending hours reading a stack of articles, I could upload them to this Notebook LM and have it whip up a podcast-style summary, like in minutes.
Exactly. And it's not just about saving time. It's about deeper understanding. The AI can spot connections, patterns, things you might miss if you were just reading alone.
Oh, I see. It's like having an extra set of eyes, or ears in this case, helping you process information.
Right. And it's personalized. One of the things that makes Notebook LM so powerful is it creates what's called a small language model based on your specific info.
So it's not just using some generic AI that's been trained on like the entire internet. It's learning from my specific documents and tailoring the output just for me.
Precisely. And that's a big deal because it means the info is going to be more relevant and potentially more accurate for your specific needs.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this could be incredibly useful. But sometimes those long reports are helpful because I need to catch specific details. Can this AI handle that?
Absolutely. You can actually ask Notebook LM specific questions about the material. Say you're prepping for a client meeting and need the key takeaways from a recent industry report. You upload it, ask, what are the 3 most important things I need to know for this meeting? And boom, it delivers a concise answer.
Wow, that's impressive. It's like having a research assistant on call 24/7.
Right. And it's not just for work. Hobbies, travel planning, even just trying to understand a complex news story. You could feed Notebook LM a bunch of articles and have it create a podcast explaining everything in a way that's clear and engaging.
I love that. It's like turning any topic into a personalized audio learning experience.
Exactly. And this is just scratching the surface.
Yeah.
There are so many creative and practical applications for this tech.
Speaking of creative applications, one of the YouTube videos you sent showed a creator using Notebook LM to actually generate content for an online course.
Oh, yeah, that was a fascinating one. They took what was basically a dry course transcript and turned it into this dynamic audio discussion.
Yeah, it's almost like they made a podcast version of their course material. And they were saying the AI was able to even capture different tones of voice, making it sound like a natural conversation between two people.
Right, and that's another big leap for AI, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
not just about spitting out information. It's about understanding how to present it in a way that's engaging and human-like.
It really does feel like we're on the edge of a major shift in how content is created and consumed.
Absolutely. And think about it. It's not just about creating new content. It's about all the existing content out there. Articles, books, lectures. Imagine transforming any of that into audio, making it accessible to people who can't read easily or who prefer to learn by listening.
That's a great point. Opens up a whole new world of possibilities for education and accessibility.
And it's not just limited to audio either. This YouTuber also showed how they used a bunch of other AI tools in conjunction with Notebook LM to make a full-on video.
Wait, what? They took the audio from Notebook LM and turned it into a video. How'd they do that?
They used a combo of tools, one for transcribing the audio, one for creating AI avatars that could lip sync, and another for editing it all together. It was like a chain reaction of AI creativity.
That's wild. It's like AI is handling all the technical stuff, freeing up human creators to focus on the big picture, the ideas, the storytelling, the things that make content connect.
Exactly. And this is just the beginning. The possibilities are truly mind-boggling. But there's another side to this too, a whole movement towards making these powerful AI tools accessible to everyone.
Oh yeah, you're talking about open source, right? There was an article about something called Notebook Llama.
Right, so Google's Notebook LM is amazing, but it is a proprietary system. Meta, the folks behind Facebook, they've released their own version called Notebook Llama, and it's open source.
For those of us who aren't tech wizards, what does open source even mean?
It means the code behind the software is free for anyone to use, modify, and distribute. It's like sharing the recipe instead of keeping it a secret.
Oh, okay, I get it. So instead of just a few giant companies controlling these tools, anyone can potentially access and build upon them.
Exactly. And that could be a game changer. It could lead to a whole new wave of innovation and creativity as developers around the world start experimenting with these open source platforms.
It's like the wild west of AI out there. But speaking of Notebook LM and how powerful it is, one of the articles mentioned how it's really changing the game for podcasting specifically.
It's funny, that article kind of reminded me of how not that long ago, we all thought recording a podcast was this huge, complicated production, right? You needed a studio, fancy mics, hours of editing. And now, potentially, all you need is this Notebook LM and a good internet connection.
Yeah. The one from Forbes Australia, right? It talked about how creating a high-quality podcast can now be done in minutes, not hours, thanks to AI. It's mind-boggling how fast things are changing.
And it's not just speed, it's the quality, too. The article mentioned how surprisingly accurate the results are, with the AI able to generate those natural-sounding conversations.
But how does it get so accurate? I mean, isn't there that saying, in tech, garbage in, garbage out? If you feed an AI bad info, it's just going to spit out more bad information, right?
You're totally right to be thinking about that. And that's one of the key advantages of Notebook LM, actually. It's not just scouring the entire internet for information like some other AI models. It's focused on those specific documents you provide, creating what's called a small language model tailored to your needs.
So it's like having a private chef who only uses the ingredients you handpick instead of whatever random stuff they find in the pantry.
Exactly. And the article highlighted how this targeted training leads to much more reliable and relevant results. They even quoted Melanie Silva, Google Australia's managing director, who uses the audio feature to listen to long briefing documents. Imagine getting the key points from a dense report delivered to you like a podcast.
That is so cool. It's like having a personalized audio summary of important info whenever you need it. No more struggling to stay awake during those long board meetings.
Speaking of staying awake, the article also pointed out how podcast listenership has just exploded in recent years, especially in Australia. It seems like people are hungry for audio content, and AI tools like Notebook LM could really fuel that fire.
It's like the perfect storm, right? The tech is getting better and better, and people are looking for new ways to consume information. It's exciting. The author of the Forbes article actually put Notebook LM to the test themselves. They uploaded a bunch of their own articles and asked it to create a podcast. And they were blown away by the results.
It's fascinating how quickly these tools are becoming sophisticated. The author was particularly impressed by how natural the AI voices sounded. Remember those old robotic-sounding text-to-speech programs?
Oh, yeah.
This is light years ahead. It actually felt like listening to a real conversation.
That makes me think about the future of audiobook narration, Could AI narrators become the norm? What would that mean for human voice actors? It's a lot to consider.
Absolutely. And that leads us to some important questions that were raised in the article, especially around intellectual property rights. Who owns the content created by the AI? Is it the user who provided the source material or the company that developed the AI?
Yeah, that's a tricky one. The legal and ethical frameworks are still trying to catch up with the tech. The article did mention that Google has stated that anything you upload to Notebook LM remains your property, but the ownership of the AI-generated output is still kind of murky.
It's a gray area for sure, and something that'll need to be addressed as these tools become more widely used. It also kind of underscores the importance of having a human in the loop, at least for now. While AI can do amazing things, it's still important to double-check the facts, ensure accuracy.
Totally agree. It's about using these tools responsibly and understanding their limitations. But on a more positive note, I was really impressed by how Google emphasizes the privacy aspect of Notebook LM.
Oh, absolutely. That's huge. The info you give to Notebook LM is only used to create output for that specific session. It's not stored by Google. They're not using your data to train other AI models or anything like that. It's like having your own private AI assistant working with you behind closed doors.
That's reassuring, especially in this age of data breaches and privacy concerns. It's good to know my confidential information is actually confidential. So, besides privacy and accuracy, any other tips or tricks for getting the most out of this Notebook LM thing?
One article offered a few interesting suggestions. One that stood out was to experiment with a variety of documents, even if they seem unrelated at first.
So don't be afraid to just throw random stuff at it and see what happens.
Exactly. You might be surprised by the connections and insights the AI uncovers. It's a great way to get a feel for the platform's capabilities, start thinking outside the box about how to use it.
That reminds me of something else the article mentioned, the value of asking Notebook LM to present information in different formats.
Oh, that's a fantastic way to personalize your learning. Instead of just a generic summary, you can ask for an FAQ, a timeline, even a study guide.
Or, of course, the mind-blowing audio overviews.
Yeah.
It's amazing how Notebook LM can turn dry information into a lively conversation.
It really does feel like having a personal tutor breaking down complex concepts in a way that's easy to understand. But speaking of accessibility, remember we were talking about those open source alternatives? Well, one of the articles dove deep into Meta's Notebook Llama.
Oh, yeah, the one from MarkTech Post, right? It got pretty technical, but the gist was that Notebook Llama is basically an open source version of Google's Notebook LM.
Exactly. And this could be huge. By making this technology freely available, Meta is essentially democratizing access to these powerful AI tools. Imagine the possibilities if developers and researchers around the world could build upon and customize these platforms without any restrictions.
It's like opening the floodgates to a wave of AI-driven innovation. The article highlighted how Notebook Llama is designed for integration with popular coding environments, like Jupyter and Google Colab. It's like giving developers the keys to the kingdom.
That's a key point. It's not just about replicating what Notebook LM does. It's about making it easier for a wider range of people to use and adapt these tools. And the article mentioned how Meta has provided really clear instructions and resources for deploying Notebook Llama on different systems, whether you're working on a local server or in the cloud.
So you don't need to be a tech giant with massive computing power to use this. That's pretty amazing.
Exactly. It's about empowering individuals and smaller organizations to experiment with AI and see how it can benefit their work. And there are already some exciting early results. The article mentioned a benchmark on Reddit where people were testing Notebook Llama and finding it super effective for things like generating insightful commentary for complex code.
It's awesome to see how quickly the open source community is embracing these tools and pushing the boundaries of what's possible. Speaking of pushing boundaries, one of the YouTube videos you sent showed a creator using a whole suite of AI tools, including Notebook LM, to make an entire video.
Oh, the one from Skill Leap AI. That was wild. The most meta part was that the video we watched was the actual AI-generated video.
I know, right? It's like AI Inception. So this creator starts by using Notebook LM to turn a course transcript into a podcast-style discussion, which we already talked about. But then they take it a step further.
Right. They download the audio from Notebook LM and use a service called Descript to get a transcript of that AI-generated conversation. Descript's actually a popular tool for professional podcast editors.
And the cool thing is, you can use Descript to make edits to the text, and it automatically updates the audio file. It's like editing a podcast as easily as you would edit a Word document.
That level of integration between different tools is remarkable. It makes the whole process so streamlined and efficient. But wait, there's more.
Oh yeah, buckle up. They then use an AI avatar generator called HeyGen to create video versions of the two AI hosts from the podcast. They even made an AI avatar of themselves.
It's amazing how these tools are making it possible for anyone to create really sophisticated video content without needing a big budget or a film crew. And then they used a free video editing app called CapCut to combine the AI avatar videos with the audio from Notebook LM, creating a fully AI-generated video.
It's mind-blowing. It really shows how AI is becoming this creative force multiplier, allowing people to do things that were previously impossible without a ton of time, money, and technical expertise.
And the creator emphasized that while it took some effort to figure out how to connect all the different tools, the final product was entirely AI-generated. It's a glimpse into a future where AI could handle the grunt work of content creation, freeing up human creators to focus on the higher-level aspects, the storytelling, the creativity.
I'm excited and a little terrified at the same time. It's definitely a lot to process, but overall I'm feeling more energized than overwhelmed. It's like all these pieces are starting to fit together, and I'm seeing the bigger picture of what AI could mean for podcasting and beyond.
I think that's a great takeaway. It's easy to get caught up in the hype or the fear around AI, but ultimately, it's about understanding the tools and how they can be used to enhance our lives, our work. And it's not just about the tech itself, it's about the human element. The creativity, the ingenuity, the desire to connect with others through storytelling.
So what you're saying is don't be afraid to experiment, but always remember AI is a tool, not a replacement for that human connection, that creativity.
Exactly. We're still the ones steering the ship. And that brings us to another important point, the responsibility that comes with this power. We need to be mindful of how AI is being used, ensure it's not being used for harmful purposes.
You're right. We can't just blindly embrace this tech without thinking about the potential downsides. One of the YouTube videos we watched talked about the dangers of deepfakes and how AI could be used to manipulate people's emotions and beliefs. It's a bit unsettling, to be honest.
It's definitely something to be aware of. Deepfakes are a prime example of how AI can be used for malicious purposes. And as the technology gets more sophisticated, it becomes even more important to be critical of the information we encounter online. Be aware of the potential for manipulation.
So it's a double-edged sword, like any powerful technology. It has the potential to do amazing things, but it also has the potential to be used for harm.
Absolutely. And that's why it's so crucial to have these open and honest conversations about these issues. We need to be talking about the ethics of AI, about how to prevent misuse and how to ensure it's used for good.
And that's where informed citizens like you come in. It's not just about understanding the technology. It's about being aware of the potential implications and using your voice to advocate for responsible development and use.
Exactly. This isn't just a tech issue. It's a societal issue.
Yeah.
And it's going to take all of us working together to shape the future of AI in a way that benefits humanity as a whole.
It really feels like AI is at this tipping point, both in terms of the tech itself and the conversations we're having about it.
It's like we're standing at the edge of this whole new world, and we're not quite sure what's waiting for us on the other side. But that's also what makes it so exciting.
It's definitely a bit of a wild ride. Thinking back on all the articles, the videos we've covered, it's incredible how fast things are changing.
It really is. Even in the time we've been having this conversation, I'm sure there are new developments popping up. That's why it's so important to stay curious, keep learning.
It's not like you read a textbook and you're done.
Right.
This is an ongoing process of discovery, exploration.
And that's where you come in. You're the one who brought all this to us because you're clearly someone who seeks out knowledge, who wants to understand these complex issues.
Well, I have to admit, sometimes I feel like I'm just scratching the surface. But this deep dive has definitely helped me connect the dots, see the bigger picture.
Think of it this way. You've planted a seed. Now it's time to watch it grow. Keep asking those questions. Keep experimenting. Keep learning. Who knows? Maybe you'll be the one who comes up with the next groundbreaking application for AI in podcasting.
There's a thought. But even if I don't become the next AI podcasting guru, I do feel like I'm better equipped to navigate this whole evolving landscape,
Exactly. And that's what's important. It's not about becoming an expert overnight. It's about being an informed and engaged participant in this technological revolution.
So as we wrap up here, is there one key takeaway you'd leave our listeners with?
I think the most important thing is to remember that AI is a tool. It's powerful, versatile, and it has the potential to transform so many aspects of our lives, including how we create and consume podcasts. But it's up to us to use it wisely, ethically.
AI is a tool, not a master. I like that. It really puts things into perspective.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to embrace the possibilities, but always think critically about the implications. And never lose that sense of wonder and curiosity that brought you here today.
Well said. This has been a truly eye-opening deep dive. Thanks for guiding me through it.
The pleasure was all mine. And to everyone listening, thanks for joining us on this journey. Stay curious, stay informed, and keep exploring this amazing world of AI.